So every day you get this much energy. Now, this much energy, this is just an example, you don't actually get this much energy. All of it is used up. By the end of the day, this is why you fall asleep at night, you're tired because you've used up all of your energy that you're using. Now, all of this energy that you have, imagine it's like strings that are kind of coming out and they're attached to like a million different things. Now, whatever these energy strings happen to be attached to, let's say that, so this is thought, right? So you're having a thought and it's going out and it's attaching to this thing. You know, you have thousands of thoughts throughout a day. So just imagine you got these thousands of strings that are going out. Now, what happens is these thoughts that you have, they hold a very specific and certain vibrational frequency, very specific, just like our words, same thing, hold a very specific vibrational frequency. So when you have these thoughts, they go out like a wave, a consciousness wave, and they attach themselves to certain things. Now, here's the problem with this, is that it's not a problem. Whatever it is that you are sending out, whatever vibration it is that you've sent out, the exact same vibration will be returned back to you. So I can't go and I can't send out this thought and attach it to this thing and then expect that something else is going to be returned back to me. Not how it works. So if my thoughts throughout a day, let's say that I hold very high vibrational thoughts, meaning I hold really loving thoughts that are in alignment with the divine love, meaning I'm not critical, I'm not jealous, I'm not judgmental, I'm not angry, I'm not resentful, I'm not holding any ill will towards anybody, but all I'm doing is holding this high vibrational frequency of love. Well, then all of this energy that I have, all these strings are attaching to all that love and is bringing it to me. It's actually pulling it to me. But the exact same thing happens if I am thinking these negative thoughts. Well, now these are going out, they're attaching to all kinds of things. And because the universe doesn't know, like, hey man, I don't actually want that, it just knows what vibration you hold and what vibration you send out. Well, it's going to see all this negative complaining, all of this stuff, resentful, angry, hurtful, hateful, sad energies, and they're all attached to that. And then it's wrangling it in and it's pulling it towards me. So what do you do if you're like, okay, but it's like I can't help myself, I'm stuck in this negative thought loop, I have all these negative things, I have all these negative beliefs, and they keep drawing all these negative things to me. What do I do? How do I free myself from this? Well, first of all, it's called mental mastery, and it's something to do, right? You know, it's called that for a reason, because it doesn't just come, it's not just easy. We have to work. Anything that you want to do, if you want to master it, you know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. Well, you've been living in your head your whole life, so you got the hours in there. But once you understand how it is that you can truly master it, it's going to change your life. So next time that you have some thought that is not high vibrational, it comes into your head, don't judge it. Don't anything. Just become aware and tell yourself, I just had a low vibe thought. This is key number one. So that when you go throughout your day and you got 750 different thoughts that are all kind of low vibe, every time that one comes up, rather than judge it, rather than give into it, rather than feed it with more of the same thought, just become aware, okay, interesting, and observe your thoughts. Something will change in your brain when you do this. You're going to be much less invested in the story that you've been telling yourself about that particular thing, about whatever emotional issue is going on, about whatever it happens to be, much less invested in it and more the observer of it, which that in itself is going to give you a different perspective. It's going to change things for you in the way that you think. And especially if you've been stuck in this holding pattern of thinking negative things and these negative things are being brought into your life. Okay, so let's say that you're aware and you're like, oh, I know, I got like 375 different, negative things that I'm thinking throughout a day, and I want to change these and correct these. Okay, so then when those come up and you now have observed them, you're going to take them one at a time to divine consciousness. And as this negative thought comes in, whatever it happens to be, you're going to sit there and you say, hey, divine, I just had this negative thought. I don't want to have it anymore. Please find me some relief. Release me from this negative thought loop that I have been stuck in. And then when you ask for this, you only got to ask one time. One time. Just one time. Because as you do that, and you pray with faith, then expect you're going to get the result exactly as it is that you wanted. So if you want to be relieved of this particular issue, give thanks that you're already relieved of that particular issue, and you're going to notice, oh, all of a sudden that thing's not an issue anymore. And so, like I said before, we have thousands of thoughts throughout a day. So when you get down to that 750 and you're on your 750th negative thought and you're like, I'm not doing this anymore, you know, well, you got rid of 749. Now you can ask Divine, hey, Divine, I got one thing left here. I need your assistance. I need you to help me. And when you pray with faith and without any doubt, the Divine will deliver and will free you from that. And then pretty soon, you know, at the end of the day, when you're totally exhausted and you're like, oh, you know, all these things just happen and you're not very thoughtful about your life, that's going to change. Because by the end of the day, you're going to look at your day and you're going to be like, dude, man, that was like a heavenly freaking day that I just had there, because all these good and wonderful things were coming. And the Divine loves you so much, so very much, that when you start speaking and you start saying, I get proof every day that I'm loved by the Divine. I get proof every single day of how much I'm loved. You're going to get the proof. You're going to see it. You'll see it with your eyes. You'll be able to touch the things and feel the things, whatever it happens to be. They will actually manifest in your life visibly. They will change the world that you're living in. So I know I normally do these podcasts and I'm just like speaking into my mic here, but I wanted to show you guys something here today. So I don't know how well it's going to go off, just because I'm going to be holding this thingy here. You guys know these. You've seen one of these before. Anywho, what you send out, it comes back to you. Okay? So if I'm going to send this one, it's going to send it back to me. So we're talking about magnetism. What you send out, you get back. Now, what happens if I send out 2? 2 come back. 2 come back. What happens if I send out 3? 3 come back. What happens if I send out 4? This is getting tricky to do. 4 come back. Why? Because we get back what we send out. And so if you are wasting your energy on low vibe, hellish, meaning fear-based or negative thoughts, it's detrimental. Stop it. Because all of those thoughts are going out and they are creating your world. They are imbuing all of this space, this empty space that's all around you, because science doesn't know what the space is, so they just call it space. But what it is it is the beginnings of creation sitting there in equilibrium, perfectly, in perfect equilibrium, and it is just waiting for your thought waves, your consciousness waves to come out and to fill it up and to start to create. Now at the start of the Bible, in Genesis, it's talking about, you know, that God spoke and then this was created and that was created, and blah, 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 and it's telling you about creation. And then it goes on later to say, these things were created, but they did not yet exist. It is telling you the process of creation. So it is saying, and I'm going to break this down even farther, because it was saying that it begins with words, but I'm going to let you know that you can't really speak any words if you don't have any thoughts in your head. So it actually begins with consciousness. It begins with your thought. So you have a thought. This is a wave, right? Our thoughts hold certain vibrational frequencies. Each thought, every single thought holds a different wave, holds a different vibration. And so we have these thoughts, and then they come out, and then we speak the words, and our words, they hold very specific vibrations too, and they go out, and they're just vibrating just like your thoughts are, and they're going out and they're filling up this empty space, and they're creating it and they're imbuing it. So this is why some people, you know, maybe they don't got a lot of money, maybe they don't got a lot of whatever, but you go into their home and it might be very simplistic, but it is very beautiful, right? It's clean, it's got good vibes, it's got every good and wonderful thing that is in there, because they've got every good and wonderful thing that's going on up here. And so then you can visibly see it. Whereas I'm sure that you've gone places before and it didn't feel that way when you were there, and all that you are witness to is what is going on in the owner's head. That's what you're witness to, is the person's consciousness who's in that environment the most. That's what you're witness to. Consciousness levels. Now I'm not talking clean and messy house. I mean, I'm kind of saying this in a way, but I'm not. I'm talking about the actual environment. The actual environment. So let's say that you are a super high vibe person, and you like to spend a lot of time outdoors. Okay, but your neighbor, they're super low vibe, and they also like to spend a lot of time outdoors. Okay, now you're going to go and you're going to walk through your backyard, and every place that you're in there, you are blessing it with your thought, with your consciousness. It's going into that space, is making your flowers more beautiful. It's making your trees grow better. It's making your grass nice and green and beautiful. And then you're going to go over to your neighbor's house who's got a lot of low vibe thinking on here. They also like to hang out outside, but what they're doing is they are grumbling and they are complaining and they are imbuing their space that they have in their yard with negative consciousness. And so you go over there and their grass isn't very green and they can't get these plants to grow. What you are witness to is the consciousness that people hold within themselves. So when you find somebody, they might not be aesthetically pleasing, but you go away from an interaction that you had with the person, you think, man, that person was really freaking beautiful. What it is that you were feeling, that you were picking up, was their consciousness waves, right? And some of our consciousness waves, when they're high vibe, they feel freaking amazing. They feel wonderful. But when they're low vibe, they don't feel amazing. They don't feel wonderful. And you don't want to be around them. Why? Because they're low vibe. They're not the truth. And they're destroying the environment. Unless you happen to be vibing at the same thing, then you're not even going to notice. Or if you're vibing really low and they're vibing up here, well, you're going to want to go up. Even if they're low vibe, maybe they're only vibing at a 10% heaven, but if you're at 5, well, that's going to feel pretty great. So it matters, the thoughts that you think in your head, and we think that it doesn't, but it really does. So we cannot hold within ourselves resentful thoughts. We cannot hold negative low vibrational frequency thoughts. We can't hold criticism, condemnation, jealousy, resentment, anger, aggression, hate, spite, all of those things. We cannot hold them within ourselves. We can't. We can't hold anything within ourselves, because every thought, every word that we have goes out of us like a wave. So we're not holding on to nothing. But what we are doing is, if we have that hate or we have that resentment or that anger or whatever it happens to be, not only is it affecting our physical body, but it is affecting our environment, it is affecting every single person that we come into contact with. And through that, if we affect other people as well with our low vibe frequency, we are going to incur the karma from what we have sent out to these other people, right? So if we have disrupted somebody else's energy system with our really low vibe, negative, hellish thoughts, not only are we suffering in that moment, that we're speaking about it, that we're currently living in hell when we're speaking about these things, but what we are doing is we're setting this up for ourselves through magnetism to be returned back to us again. And so this is why some people, it seems like their lives are just plagued with disasters, right? Like one thing, if it's not one thing, it's another. How many people do you know that say that? They have created this for themselves through their thought. Now, if you truly love the divine and you're in the flow and you get to know the divine so well, then you will understand and you will know how detrimental it is to speak about things, to think about things, to invest in things that are low vibe, because they're not truth. Now, they will become true in your life, but they're not the truth, right? Because the truth is, only love exists, and it is only our mind that must begin to think differently than this, right? And so we have allowed fear, we have allowed all kinds of negative, low vibrational beliefs to fill us up, to fill our brains every day, to fill our consciousness, and we know that our consciousness is waves. And as we've allowed this through our free will, because you got free will, as we've allowed this, what happens is we recreate it over and over and over and over and over again. And because we expect the same thing to happen tomorrow as what happens yesterday, it happens. Because our beliefs hold that certain vibrational frequency, and it goes out and it attracts through magnetism. It brings it to us. So if you say, well, how can this thing happen to me tomorrow? How could this good and wonderful thing happen to me tomorrow? Because, I know I've been living my life, and every day I get up and I do the same thing, and I blah, 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 blah. Yes, and you have created this for yourself. And at some point, the thing that you're doing now, you manifested in the past, and now you're experiencing it and you're living it. Like you're here now, and before you were here. And so what happens now when you can recognize, like, okay, I'm here, but you know what, dude, I want to be way up here. Like, why would I not want that? Well, the way to get there is to cleanse away all of the things that are not that. So let's say this is the feeling that you get every day. You wake up and you're like excited to go to work. You're going to go out there. You're going to change the world. Everybody that you meet is really supportive. They're kind. They're caring. It's amazing. What does that feel like? What is that like for you? If you are not living there, if you are not vibing that, you are not going to bring that to yourself. You can't. If you're living here, this is what you're getting. The same thing that you're emitting, the same thing that you're putting out. So if you want to be up here, you got to get rid of all of this stuff. So let me tell you what this stuff is. This is all low vibe thoughts. So this is frequencies that are angry, sad, bitter, that like to gossip, that like to talk bad about people, that like to judge people, all that. Now imagine, just for a second, that all of that, you know, like let's say that you gossip or you judge or you this or that, just imagine that all of that was coming back to you, that what you do in one normal day, let's say you're talking about somebody else, you want to tell their life story. Well, why do you want to tell their life story when it happens to be some negative thing? Let's imagine that all of this that you have done, it's all returned back to you, because that's actually what's going to happen. But just imagine that it's all returning back to you. You don't want that, right? No, you don't want that. No, you want good. So what do you need to do? You need to speak good about other people. You need to put good consciousness waves out there in the universe. You need to speak good words from your lips, because they're holding those vibrations too. Then the things that you're manifesting will be beautiful. Because you can't just say, well, look, I manifested this thing over here, and it's some wonderful thing, like, oh, you manifested yourself a new car. Oh, great, that's wonderful. Okay, but then this tragedy happens. You say, well, I didn't manifest that. Yeah, but you did. You did. Because every single thing that comes to you is coming to you as a return from something that either happened in the past that you did, something that happened in the past that you really focused on, that you feared happening, or that you spoke about happening. Our consciousness waves are inescapable. We cannot escape them. It is the law, it is the universal law of cause and effect. And what it does is it brings order into chaos, so that I can't go out and harm you and then just get away with it scot-free. Not going to happen. I will have to suffer the exact same harm that was done to you, maybe not in the same way, but it's going to feel the same way to me. It's going to come back in the same vibration that I sent it out to you. And this brings order into chaos. But what this also does is means that you can create heaven for yourself, and you can do it today. You can do it right now. You can do it right now. If you just put out the good, it's going to come back to you. Now, there is a lag time depending on how spiritually cleansed your mind is. So just because you do really good today, and then the end of the day comes and you're like, well, the thing didn't happen. Well, first of all, there's beliefs there then. If you had a really good day and then the end of the day comes and that's your attitude, well, then you still have a whole bunch of beliefs within yourself. You didn't believe it was going to happen in the first place. That's why it didn't happen. So there's lots of things that need to be cleansed out. But here's the thing. You can do it, and you don't need to wait. You can start doing it. You can start doing it right now. I made this mental cleanse series. It's on here. It's on my playlist on my YouTube channel. It's free, totally free. And I made this a few years ago after I had had this beautiful enlightenment where I understood how the things work. I understood how to heal people. I understood all of the things. I got it. I understood and realized that I needed to make this series so that people could do this work for free, so that they didn't have to pay me to come and work with me, but that they could do the work themselves. Because you know what? I did a lot of the work myself too. Yes, I worked with other individuals and I learned a lot from it. They helped me on my healing journey. They do the same type of work that I do. They were using hypnosis, helping me in this way. And so I thought, what a better way to help you guys than to just lay it out for you, and all you gotta do is listen to it and follow along, and then you can free yourself from so many different things that are keeping you away from manifesting that beautiful thing that you want. Why? Because you're too busy manifesting the thing that you do not want, and you don't even realize that it's happening. But as soon as you realize that it's happening, and that you can only manifest in the right now, this moment, in this moment, this one, now this one, now this one, only right now, you can only manifest right now, then you're going to realize that you got to get it under control, and you need to master your mind and gain control of it, so that when you have these low vibe thoughts that you don't want that to return to you again, no, I don't want this. I don't want these low vibe things. I only want high vibe things. So then when you have the low vibe thoughts, you got to cut them off. You got to heal them. And I'm not saying ignore them. I'm saying heal them. Now, if you have some low vibe thought come to you, this has been a thought loop that you've had for a long time, let's say some resentment or something that you have towards somebody, you actually need to heal this. Go in, do some actual subconscious healing and heal it so it doesn't keep coming up. But let's say that this is somebody that you've let go of and you need to just stop thinking about this person. Maybe you're getting divorced and whatever happens to be. Okay, so you've dealt with the things, where I'm assuming you've dealt with these things, but now you just keep having a person pop into your head. So what you're going to do is you're going to take them, and every time that this person pops into your head, you're going to take them and you're going to put them up on a shelf, and you're going to slide something in front of it, and you're going to look at something that makes you happy. This is all in your mind. I'm not saying actually put them on a shelf. You know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is think about puppies, kitties, something that actually uplifts you and makes you happy. And every time that that person pops into your head that you're like, no, I'm not giving them not even one more second of my time. You're on the shelf. I'm thinking about the puppies. Why? Because puppies have never harmed me. Because I love puppies. Because every time I think about puppies, it makes me happy. It makes me want a puppy. And it uplifts me. And when we can intentionally do this, what we are doing is we are rewiring our brain. I know this is like an old phrase. But what it's doing is it is changing the patterns. And what is going to happen is when you change these patterns, the beliefs change. So either you change the beliefs and then the patterns change, or you change the patterns and then the beliefs change. Either way. But if you can't come and work with me and we can't, get her done like that, then you can do these things for yourself, and it just takes a little bit more time, but you can do it. This is why I made this series, and this is why I'm telling you guys this stuff. So the most important thing is the thoughts that come out of your head and the words that come out of your mouth. And if they are low vibe, or if they are filled with negativity, or that's never going to happen for me, or this or that, you're creating it, you're manifesting it, you're making that happen. So speak good, speak high vibe, talk about the good things that it is that you want in your life, and expect them to come to you, and they will. And if there's something that you don't like, don't give it your time of day. Don't look at it. Know that this is something that you manifested in the past, that you're like, I'm not going to do that again. Now that I have the awareness that I don't want that again, I'm not going to give that energy, because I don't want that energy ever coming back to me, so I'm not going to give into it. And then you're going to high vibe yourself. You're going to think about something else, because the only difference between low vibe and high vibe is the thoughts that's going on in your head at that exact moment. That's the only difference. Low vibe, high vibe, it's all thoughts. That's all it is. But these thoughts, they're consciousness waves.